See, this is an interesting take for me. I would ask this person where they live. Who knows if you're going to get an honest answer, but I would ask, where do you live? Because this person says, vote for Democrats and don't be surprised when your taxes are high. Now, as somebody that has lived his entire life, predominantly his entire life, in a Democratic state, my retort to you would be, define high. Because what I find to be the case is that most people who live in red states and don't like the taxes that are being levied in blue states and say that those states' taxes are too high, they live in states that don't levy enough tax and therefore have to live on the tax revenue that us in blue states generate. Right? I mean, that's the way it goes. Kentucky does not levy enough taxes on its people to pay its bills. They just don't. So what do? They take money from Illinois. Tennessee gets over $2 back in federal funding for every $1 it puts in. Illinois gets about 68 cents back for every $1 it puts in. So somebody sitting in Tennessee or Kentucky looks at Illinois and goes, wow, your taxes are too high. Well, your state's not levying enough taxes. You guys can't even pay your fucking bills without our tax revenue. Maybe if you guys figured out a way to generate enough revenue to survive on your own in red states, we wouldn't have to levy such taxes here in Illinois. Illinois loses $8.3 billion every year with red states taking its money. $8.3 billion every year. We run a deficit of a little over $5 billion. We have a little over $12 billion in unpaid bills. If Illinois could keep the tax revenue that it generated in its state from its workers and its companies, it could pay down its unpaid bills in less than a decade and be running a $3 billion surplus every year, just with the taxes we levy right now. We could be running a $3 billion surplus right now, but we can't because folks in red states need that money. And those folks in the red states are the ones that constantly complain about high taxes from blue states. So if I were to say to you, where do you live? And you were to rattle off one of a shit ton of red states, with the exception of places like Texas, Florida, a couple of other places, I think it's one or two other states that are not taker states, I would say to you, how about you just say thank you for the money that we generate because you're living off of it. And even because Florida and Texas are not taker states, the way Kentucky, West Virginia, Alabama, states like that, Mississippi are. I will say this. Texas sure as fuck always needs our tax revenue whenever they get hit by a storm, and rightfully so, right? They're a state in the union, but they always bitch and moan about other states when they get hit, and then Texas, they need our money then. But that's neither here nor there. Yeah, we pay an elevated tax rate because we need to actually cover the fucking services that we provide. We need to pave the roads. We need to pay for the schools. We need to pay for the fire and police. We need to pay for the state troopers. And then we need to pay for some of yours if you live in a red state.